address. Did he adequately address the challenges facing Kenyans in his 7th State of the Nation address? Honorable, many thanks for staying on with us. So the president moved on to reassure the country that the country's economy is on course. This despite reports that the country's total debt has now surpassed the 7 trillion shilling mark that had been capped by the National Assembly and is likely to hit the 9 trillion shilling mark as well. Speak to us about what the president should have addressed in matters economy. Honorable, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, let's speak about the president's take on the economy. He moved on to reassure the nation that the country's economy is strong and is on course. This despite reports that the country's total debt is spiraling way past the 7 trillion shilling mark. Your thoughts on his stance on the economy?
I think one of the things I would have expected him to recognize in his speech is that the monies borrowed are getting lost through outright theft, which is orchestrated from inside the government. And therefore, we have no ability to repay because that money is not put into the use it was intended for. So, talking about the economy without focusing on how to stop the bleeding through rampant corruption is not adequate at all. Also failing to address the issue of the many people who have closed their businesses, how to support, especially the small businesses, to restart their enterprises, then I don't think we can say he has adequately addressed the economy or that we have prospects of restarting our economy, which has been slowed down by COVID.
Right. On the issue of bettering the economy, he spoke about shifting young people from being earners of wages to owners of capital. And among the developments there, he termed in terms of ease of doing business, he highlighted the waiver of the single business permit for all new businesses registered in Nairobi for the first 2 years of the operations. This despite young business owners and young entrepreneurs in Nairobi having problems with the police and city council because of not having single business permits. Again, was the president in touch with what's going on the ground while he said this?
I absolutely not, because he should have touched on what is going to be done differently to ensure that startups are not harassed by the police for failure to have the single business license, which bottlenecks are preventing them from having. Also, the issue of loans to these entrepreneurs, the government has various funds, but which are hardly accessible to the young.
He also spoke about the legacies or the projects that will form his legacy. Top among that is a passage of the BBI report. And the steering committee on the implementation of the BBI report, they recommends that for governors at least, that every running mate should be of the opposite gender in a bid to have a mixed gender ticket to achieve gender parity in the country. Your take on that and several other proposals in the BBI report that the president championed yesterday?
I think he concentrated on BBI, likened himself to Moses, which I think was totally inappropriate. Moses concentrated on helping the Israelites, the entire nation. But BBI focuses on what the president and his BBI brother want and excludes all other Kenyans. We have just heard Right Honorable Raila Odinga stating that there will only be editorial issues on the BBI. So in other words, they're showing contempt for the views of Kenyans who think that this document should be thought about, for the views that have been given by the various stakeholders. So this is an exclusionary project which has no intention of benefiting Kenyans but a few leaders. And on gender parity, this document flips what is already provided for by the Constitution, the not more than 2/3 gender rule. They give the Senate gender parity, which is laudable, but then they take away the mechanism of implementing the gender rule in Parliament, and they ensure that the first 5 important seats, presidency and the Prime Minister, the gender rule does not apply. So they have no intention of having the gender balance envisaged by the Constitution. They are actually overthrowing the Constitution we passed in 2010.
Right.
And this must be resisted.
And as we wind up this conversation, it's been a confusing week for Kenyans with regard to the BBI report. Earlier this week, we woke up to reports that there may be a window now for amendments to the BBI report, for more proposals to be included to achieve inclusivity. And just this morning, we woke up to ODM leader Raila Odinga saying the collection of signatures for this report will begin as early as next week. What do you make of these developments surrounding the BBI report?
This demonstrates lack of good faith on the part of the 2 BBI brothers, the President and the former Prime Minister. On one hand, they are telling Kenyans there is, come we discuss. On the other, they are saying, we are not willing to talk to you, we must have our way. That's what I hear them saying. And once again, I would say, as Kenyans, we must resist this.
Honourable, many thanks for your time. That is NARC Kenya Party leader Martha Karua there speaking to us about her views on President Uhuru Kenyatta's 7th State of the Nation address, saying that the president did not address issues critical to the nation. And the wrangles between the Kenya National Union of Teachers and the Teachers Service Commission seem to be renewing with NARC